Hello students, good morning. Myself Bijay sir. This is my first video which I am making for you, students of class 10 CBSE in science. The first chapter of your science book is chemical reaction and chemical equation. In chemistry, this is your first chapter which involves two parts in the study. First is chemical reaction and second is chemical equation. Let us understand chemical reaction. We know chemistry deals with the study of changes which takes place in matter. Also, all of you know changes are of two types, physical changes and chemical changes, which you have read in your previous classes. Here we have to discuss the chemical changes, which is also called chemical reactions. In our daily life, we are familiar with many of the chemical reactions, such as digestion of food, rusting of iron, burning of candle. When we keep a freshly cut piece of apple for a long time, its color gets changed. These are the examples of chemical changes, means the chemical reactions which take place in our surrounding, in our daily life, on the basis of which we can define chemical reaction. Chemical reaction we can define like this: a process which transforms one or more substances into new substances. Is called a chemical reaction. A process which transforms, means which converts one substance or more than one substance into new substances having new chemical properties, is called a chemical reaction. For example, we can take a piece of carbon which we allow the piece of carbon to burn in air or oxygen. The burning of carbon in air gives carbon dioxide gas with the evolution of heat energy. Another example of chemical reaction we can take is the reaction between magnesium metal and the oxygen gas. When a piece of magnesium ribbon is allowed to react with or burn in air or react with oxygen, it gives magnesium oxide and heat is evolved. Similarly, we can take other chemical substance which is sodium carbonate, and allow this sodium carbonate to react with sulfuric acid in the dilute form. It gives sodium sulfate in the aqueous form, water and carbon dioxide gas. The evolution of carbon dioxide gas in this reaction is called effervescence. Effervescence is a process of evolution of gas through a solution. When a gas is evolved from a solution, the process of evolution, the process of release of gas from a solution is called effervescence. The next example we can take in the list of chemical reaction is the reaction between zinc metal and dilute hydrochloric acid. These two chemical substances react to form zinc chloride and hydrogen gas is released. Similarly, when we take lime, which is also called quicklime, the chemical name of quicklime is calcium oxide, reacts with water. Water is in liquid state, forms calcium hydroxide, whose state is called aqueous. It is called slacked lime. Slacked lime, and this is called quicklime. After the discussion of these chemical reactions, we can conclude each chemical reaction has two parts. One which we have written here in the left hand side, and other which we have written here in the right hand side. The substance which we have taken for the chemical reaction are written in the left hand side, and these substances are called reactant. And the substance which is formed after the chemical reaction between the substances taken is called product, which is usually written in the right hand side of the reaction. So there are 2 points which we should understand here: reactant and product. Reactants are the substances which are taken for the chemical reaction, means which take part in the chemical reaction, and the chemical substances which are formed after the chemical reaction are called product. After this discussion, we have to discuss another topic which is called characteristics of chemical reactions. Before starting this topic, characteristics of chemical reaction, one thing I would like to describe here is the Substances which are formed after the chemical reaction are called product, whose chemical properties are entirely, completely different from the substance which are taken for the chemical reaction. Means the chemical properties of product are quite entirely different from the chemical properties of the reactants. Now, to identify the chemical reaction, 5 characteristics are usually discussed. The first characteristic is change in physical state. Change in physical state. Some chemical reactions are accompanied with the change in physical state. As we take a solid wax, that is a candle, and allow it to burn. When it is burnt, it gives water vapor along with carbon dioxide. So this is solid and these are in the gaseous substance. These are gaseous state of the matter which are formed. So this is change in physical state due to the chemical reaction. The second is change in color. If we take a chemical substance called lead nitrate, PbNO3 aqueous, we take aqueous solution of lead nitrate and potassium iodide. Both are colorless. Potassium iodide aqueous. When these two chemical substances are mixed in a test tube, the change in color occurs. What happens? Lead nitrate react with potassium iodide to give lead iodide, which is solid, and lead iodide solid, and it is yellow precipitate. Precipitate means the solid substance which get settled at the bottom of the test tube in the solution, and with the formation of this precipitate, an aqueous solution of potassium nitrate is formed. Right? The third characteristic of chemical reaction is the evolution of gas. Evolution of gas. In many of the chemical reactions, gas is evolved. As we take zinc metal and allow it to react with dilute hydrochloric acid. It forms zinc chloride and hydrogen gas is evolved. The evolution of hydrogen gas in the reaction can be tested. To test the evolution of hydrogen gas, we bring a burning splinter near the mouth of apparatus from which hydrogen gas is evolving. The burning splinter continues burning with a characteristic sound called pop sound, which is a test of liberation of hydrogen gas in laboratory. Right? So, the gas evolved in this reaction burns with pop sound, which is a characteristic property of hydrogen gas. Next characteristic of the chemical reaction is formation of precipitate. Formation of precipitate. This reaction in which precipitate is formed is also called precipitation reaction. If we take the aqueous solution of barium chloride and sodium sulfate and allow these two solutions to mix in a test tube, a white precipitate of barium sulfate along with the aqueous solution of sodium chloride is formed. White precipitate of barium sulfate. In this reaction, if you will carry this reaction in laboratory, when you will use to mix these two solutions, suppose you will take sodium sulfate, aqueous solution of sodium sulfate in a test tube, and in another test tube, if you will take the aqueous solution of barium chloride, when you will use to pour the aqueous solution of barium chloride into the aqueous solution of sodium sulfate, as the first drop of the barium chloride will come in the contact with the aqueous solution of sodium chloride, you will observe the white colored substance is moving downward in the test tube to settle in its bottom. This is white precipitate of barium sulfate. The next and the last characteristic of chemical reaction is change in temperature. Characteristic of chemical reaction is also the change in temperature. Chemical reactions occur with the evolution or absorption of chemical reaction is change in temperature. All chemical reactions occur with the evolution or absorption of heat. The chemical reaction in which heat is evolved are called exothermic chemical reaction, and the chemical reactions in which heat is absorbed are called endothermic chemical reaction. For example, we can take two examples separately for an exothermic and an endothermic chemical reaction. CaO, calcium oxide, react with water liquid, gives calcium hydroxide, CaOH whole 2, aqueous, and heat is evolved in this reaction. It is called exothermic reaction. Barium hydroxide, aqueous plus ammonium chloride, aqueous gives barium chloride, aqueous ammonia gas, and water. This is an endothermic reaction. Okay. Hello, dear students. This is my first video which I have made for you. I hope you will go through this video and feel beneficial for you. If there is any inquiries, if you feel any problem in understanding the topics described by me, please ask your problems through the comments so that I can improve my next video which I am planning to make for you will be better. Thank you very much.